everyone rise, please? Thank you.
Color guards, post your colors.
Please stand and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you to the Girl Scouts for doing that and opening up today's ceremony. We really appreciate the Girl Scout troops from Hazlitt, Okemos, and Holt coming out and participating in today's event. Well, it's our birthday. Delhi and Meridian Township, we're 175 years old, and we look pretty darn good, I'd say. Y'all look really young out there. Thank you so much for coming and supporting Delhi Township and Meridian Township and celebrating our 175th anniversary. We really appreciate everyone coming out. We have a lot of speakers who came out here today who have come out to provide tributes to the communities and all the efforts that have been done for the past 175 years. It's not going to take super long to talk about 175 years. So without further ado, I want to introduce the first speaker, George Orban, to come up here and give a brief presentation as part of our opening ceremony. George is the Ingham County Historical Commission Chair. I'm sorry, I had to look that up, George. Thank you.
Thank you, and greetings on behalf of the Ingham County Historical Commission, which is the oldest, we're proud to say, the oldest county historical commission in Michigan, founded in 1971. So we're very proud and very pleased to participate in this and congratulate Delhi and Meridian Townships for this milestone. And I researched, speaking of history, I researched the history of the act that created the two townships. It's some 6 pages long, creating cities, villages, and townships all over the state. At that time, of course, the capital was in Detroit, and the legislators only came in for a few months for the year, so they literally worked all day. The bill was introduced, heard in committee, passed both houses, was signed by the governor, filed by the Secretary of State in 1 week. So they worked really fast back in those days. So again, thank you very much for being here, and our congratulations to the townships for their 175th anniversary. And you're right, I live in Delhi Township, so I'm a little partial, but they're looking good. And so I would like to introduce the Meridian Township Supervisor, Ronald J. Styka.
Well, hello, everybody. This is an incredible crowd. I guess these two places are loved by all their residents. We really appreciate that. On behalf of Meridian Charter Township Board and the entire Meridian community, welcome to the celebration of the birth of Meridian Township and Delhi Township. My name is Ron Styka, as was said, and I am have the privilege and the honor to be before you as the successor of Meridian's very first township supervisor, George Matthews. Today we are celebrating the past of the township, but also its present. 175 years ago, the state legislature created 3 new townships out of what was then a very large township, Eladin Township, Delhi, Lansing, and Meridian. Previously in 1805, the U.S. Congress had created the Michigan Territory and required that it be surveyed. As part of that process, a baseline, which is now known to especially Detroit area people as 8 Mile Road, and a meridian were drawn in order to do the surveying out of the state. Meridian is now known as Meridian Road in this area, and that is the eastern border of Meridian Township, which is how it got its name. As we look around today, it is difficult to imagine what things were like in 1842. Mid-Michigan was a dense forest with some Native American sites where they camped, and only Native American trails carved through the thick trees and brush, and only the rivers as the means of transportation through the area. There was no state capital, not even a Lansing, no Michigan State University, or even Michigan Agricultural College as it was once called, and only a few scattered cabins with clearings for farming. Today, this area includes the state capital, a world-class major university, a portion of which lies within Meridian Township, and this area is in the heart of an industrial zone and a beautiful, beautiful agricultural area. What has happened in 175 years could not have happened and could not have been imagined by Stanford Marsh, Obed Marshall, Joseph Kilbourne, and Freeman Bray, four of the early pioneers, as well as the other early settlers. In 1842, Meridian Township had 36 taxable parcels. That's it, 36. Today, Meridian Township has a taxable value of $1.6 billion, second in the greater Lansing area. The first township board met in the home of Supervisor George Marshall, and today the township has an extensive municipal complex, 156 employees, which includes 39 police officers and 32 firefighters. In 1842, the township had a population of right around 100, who were fighting a daily battle with nature to make a living in the wilderness. And today it has 42,000 residents living in beautiful neighborhoods and other developments, enjoying the use of 29 parks, which comprise 911 acres. At first, the township had no schoolhouses. They came a little bit later, a couple years. Today, it includes a portion of 4 outstanding school districts: Okemos, Hazlitt, East Lansing, and Williamston, school districts that continually rank among the best anywhere. Today is about the history of Meridian Township, but it's also about its beginnings. And yet again, it's also about its present. The residents of Meridian Charter Township continue to build on the heritage of those early pioneers. And my paper is sticking together. Thank you. Meridian was the place in those days chosen by the early settlers to establish their lives, raise their families, and conduct their businesses. And it remains just that kind of place today, a place chosen by many to do the same thing: raise their families, conduct their businesses, and enjoy their lives. Thank you for honoring Meridian Township today. And next, I'd like to introduce our next speaker, Jacob McCormick, who is I got to read his title without my glasses, the Holt Delhi Historical Society leader. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. So I'm going to talk a bit about local history and its importance. Enactment Day is a significant event for both communities, Delhi and Meridian Township. It's a celebration that reflects on our past and looks towards our collective futures. Events like this draw immense attention to local history, of which the importance really cannot be overstated. Local history is not only for historians, genealogists, and the elderly community members, which is a common misperception. It's an important unifier for all township residents. Those who have been lifelong residents, who've lived in the townships their entire lives, or great portions of their lives, will gleefully share their memories of the community, their first job, their school memories, driving a car for the first time. And that's been the mission of the Holt Delhi Historical Society since we were founded in 2014. It's to collect these stories and record these stories and start a collection and compile a collection of artifacts that tell the story of Delhi Township. We also offer history-based tours and special events. Our current ongoing project is honoring World War II veterans in the mid-Michigan area, primarily from Delhi Township. The majority of these events draw longtime residents, draw people who've lived in the community their entire lives, but we also regularly see young families and people who've just decided to live in Delhi Township. This is where local history plays a crucial role. It can really bridge the gap between those people who've lived in the township their entire lives and people who've just chosen the township as their home. Educating these residents, these people who've lived there forever, and these new residents is really critical in moving forward in the township. The history of just yesterday and the history of 175 years ago, 100 years ago, is equally important. It shaped the way we've grown and we've thrived over the past years, whether that be the namesake of a street, whether that's the origins of a local business, or the storied history of a historic site. These have all shaped our past and our present, and they will shape our future, and we create history every day. And that's really why we care about local history. It's just really too important to leave in old, dusty books that nobody looks at. It needs to be maintained and shared on a constant basis and made relevant over and over again. That's what events like this are really all about and why they're so important. They make local history relevant, and they shine a bright spotlight on the history of both communities and both townships. And that I'm very grateful. Shining this spotlight on both major anniversaries in Meridian and Delhi Township, and I look forward to celebrating these anniversaries throughout the rest of the year, and looking back on our past and looking forward to our future at the same time. So on that note, we'll shift gears a little bit. Delhi Township was formally established in 1842, as has been stated a few times. At that time, the majority of the settlers had only been in the area for about 5 years. Henry Harrison North was instrumental in the establishment of both Lansing and Delhi Townships. He had only lived in the area for 3 years when, in 1842, he was elected to serve as Delhi Township's first supervisor. Today, we have township officials who have lived in the township their entire lives. With that, I'm pleased to introduce to you someone who's been a resident of Holt for 50 years, who's served on Delhi Township's board for the past 13 years, and someone who is supervising Delhi in their coming years, Delhi Township Supervisor John Hayhill.
I'd like to thank Jacob McCormick for all he's done. When he came on 3 years ago, he was focusing on this event for this evening, so he spent about 3 years putting this together. He's a local Holt boy. He graduated from Holt High School, goes to local university, MSU, majoring in history, and he's the one that started the Delhi Holt Historical Society and brought this together. So I'd like to give him a round of applause for today. Thank you, Jacob. Yes. And from Meridian Township, it's good to come together. Jacob sent me an email yesterday and said, John, in my remarks, I'm not going to mention our trail system, our parks, our senior citizen center, a few of the other assets. If you want to mention those in your speech, you can. I appreciate that, because that's what we're proud of in Delhi Township. We've developed a trail system. Tracy Miller has spent about 8 years working on our trail system, fighting to push it through. It's always a struggle, but we have a trail system we're very proud of, and we're still continuing to develop it. Thank you for that, Tracy. We have a senior citizen center that is recognized in the mid-Michigan area. We have a guy named Stuart Goodrich who had a dream to build a new senior citizen center. He's not here tonight, but he spent about 8 years developing that, and we have a very nice senior citizen center. We have a lot of physical assets that I'm proud of in Delhi Township. Our parks and recs, I think everybody here knows Mark Jenks. He puts his whole life in that. He doesn't punch a clock in the morning and punch a clock at night. He lives Delhi Parks and Recs, and we're very proud of that. Thank you, Mark. I want to give you a round of applause on that. My job as supervisor is very easy. I have a fantastic staff. John Elsinga sits way in the back. He never takes any recognition for what he does, but he's been working as township manager for close to 30 years in Delhi Township. He doesn't even live in Delhi Township, but he considers that his home, and he puts more time into Delhi Township than he does where he lives. And I appreciate that, and I hope he stays around for a long time because, John, you're an asset to the community. Thank you, John. I look around the room, and there's so many physical assets that we have in Delhi Township, and that reminds me, it's not the physical assets that are important, it's the people that brought those all forward. Every person that I just mentioned had an idea, and that's why Delhi Township is so great today. It's the ideas and it's the people behind them. I'm spending a lot of time with our township superintendent, Dr. David Hornak over here. He's a young guy. I'm trying to mentor him as the old guy in the room, but Dave, and I think Dave's biggest problem is he only has 7 days in a week to work with his 5,500 students, his 700 staff people, and if he had 8 or 9 days in the week, he could do a much better job. I think that's what Dave would like, and he brought some of his board members here, but we're really proud. Our whole school is recognized as one of the top 10 schools in the Michigan area, and so we appreciate that. Thanks, Dave. I really appreciate all you do. I look around and I see we have a couple of Holt Lion members here. We have Gail Robbins and Barb Shabino, and they put their whole lives into the Lions. And that's what's great about Delhi Township. We have Lions, Kiwanis, Rotary. We have a business alliance. Those girls that came in, some of those are. Raise your hand if you're a Holt Girl Scout over there. Who's our Holt Girl Scouts? Thank you. Thank you for showing up today. We appreciate this. I really enjoy living in Delhi Township. I've spent my whole life there. My business was there. My family was there. Now I have grandchildren there, and I realize what I want to do is keep that community great for my grandchildren. I want them to have the benefits I've been able to enjoy in the community. I was just talking to somebody 2 days ago. I think my bucket list is all done now at 65. And then I realized last night when I was making this speech, I have one more thing in my bucket list. I'd like to be around 25 years from now when we have our 200th anniversary in this room. I would like to come back in 25, see, 65 plus 25, that's 90. I'll give it a fail. Okay, we'll see if I make it or not. But I'd like to come back, and that would be what I write down here, 2042. There's a chance I might be here. And everything I just mentioned, our senior citizen center, our trails, our parks, our school, they were all built in the last 20 years. 25 years ago, we had no idea we were going to do this stuff. We had no idea about that kind of stuff. It just happened because somebody had an idea. So 25 years from now, somebody's going to stand up here and talk about all those new things. We have no idea in Delhi Township what they are. But somebody's going to step forward. There's young people. Matt Lincoln, he just put something. Stand up, Mark. Stand up. Okay, come on, give him a round. Let's give Matt a round of applause. Matt built a structure, an art object that we put right in our township, in front of our township hall. He just put up about 2 months ago. It's probably going to be there for over 100 years, Mark, isn't it, Mr. Lincoln? About 100 years. That's going to be around. So we have people like that in Delhi Township. We don't even know who they are, but they got some ideas. And hopefully I can stand up here, maybe sitting back of the crowd 25 years from now, and I can see what Delhi Township has even gone farther. The same way with Meridian Township. You have people over there like that. It's a great place. I love to visit there. My wife probably spends too much time shopping over there in Meridian Township. But anyway, it's a great place. I love Delhi Township. I love the people. It's not the physical assets. I finally realize it's the people behind that that's important in your community. Thank you. Thank you.
Our next speaker is State Senator Curtis Hertel Jr., and I just want to give a shout out to his office. I contacted his office over a year ago about reserving a room to celebrate Enactment Day, and have been working with his staff for many hours putting the room together. And so I just want to give a shout out to Matt Black in the back room. Thank you so much for setting this up for us and your entire office, Curtis. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Is there anyone from Delhi that John didn't mention directly? Sorry, John. It's such a great honor to represent both these two communities. And
not just the physical locations, but more importantly, the people. And we've had such great experiences with all of you, and young and old, and it's so wonderful to have the Girl Scouts out from both communities today. But really, our two great welcoming communities, and I think Tom and I are both proud to represent you. So let me read the proclamation. It is signed by myself, Tom Cochran, Sam Singh, who unfortunately was here but had to run off to another meeting. He's minority leader now, so that makes him pretty busy. Lieutenant Governor Brian Calley and Governor Snyder. Let it be known that it is with great pride that we join with the citizens of Delhi and Meridian Townships in celebrating their 175th anniversaries. As the residents of these communities gather to celebrate their history and to reaffirm their commitment for the future, we are proud to recognize the important role that these townships have played in the economic and environmental development of the state of Michigan. Delhi and Meridian Township were both established by the legislature of the state when it passed Act Number 57, Section 9, at the 1842 annual session of the legislature on the 16th day of February. That act was titled, An Act to Organize Certain Townships and for Other Purposes. Over 37 other townships were also established by that same act of the legislature. I mean, they did real work back then. I mean, Tom, pretty amazing, you know? I mean,
And all in a week, too.
all in a week. I mean, think of how long we've been talking about roads, huh? With a combined population of over 65,000 people living in these two townships, it's clear that Delhi and Meridian Township have established themselves as excellent communities in which to live, work, and raise a family. They provide hundreds of acres of township and county parkland, excellent senior centers and services, and neighborhoods that are well connected and maintained. Businesses both national and international have made a home in these two townships, employing Michigan citizens to provide a broad range of products and services in the world. In special tribute, therefore, this document is signed and dedicated to commemorate the 175th anniversaries of Delhi and Meridian Townships. We recognize the many achievements of these townships and offer our thanks for the ways they enrich the lives of their residents and for the people across the state of Michigan. Thank you so much.
Thank you all very much. Thank you, Senator. And I'll be very brief. I have tributes as well. I just wanted to briefly, as a lifelong resident of Ingham County, my mother served as the assessor on Meridian Township for a number of years. And so I have ties to not only Meridian, but Holt, Delhi as well. But I have a factoid that I like to share to the school groups that come to visit the capital that many people don't realize. That Ingham County is unique in that we are the only state where the county seat and the state capital are not in the same city. And not many people know that. So I think that's another little piece of history fact of our unique place in Michigan that we live. And we should all be very proud of that. I know I am proud. I know to serve as your representative, and I know you're proud as well. But again, as Senator said, Representative Singh would have loved to have been here. Being with his new responsibilities as minority leader, he was unable to. And again, congratulations and happy birthday.
And next, we'll have a tribute from the Ingham County Commission from one of the greatest Ingham County Commissioners, Kara Hope.
Thank you, Senator Hertel. I'm not sure I deserve all that, but be that as it may, I think Supervisor Hayhoe said just about everything there is to say about Delhi Township. I'm not really sure what I would add to that. But as Delhi's representative on the Ingham County Board of Commissioners, I'm always proud of my community. I'm proud of the people who live there. I'm proud of the people who oftentimes don't get recognition, those who give their time to community organizations, who help out at the schools and at sporting events for kids. So I'd just like to thank those people who, you know, some of them are in this room, I know, for both communities, but those people who commit their time to making their communities a better place. They're the ones who really make a community what it is. We're here to celebrate or commemorate an act of the legislature, and that's certainly important. We are a nation of laws. But it's the everyday acts of kindness and civic mindedness that really make us what we are. So I'm pleased to present this resolution on behalf of the Board of Commissioners to Delhi Township with my thanks to Jacob McCormick and the Township Board, and a wish of happy birthday to both townships. Thank you. And at this time, I would like to welcome Dr. Kathy Ash from Okemos Public Schools.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here and pay tribute to both Meridian Township, where we exist, as well as Delhi Township. And if Dr. Hornak is the young guy, I guess that makes me the old gal. And so I was trying to think about whether we should call this a birthday or an anniversary. And to me, birthdays are about individuals, and anniversaries are about partners and relationships. And I believe that the importance of the strong relationship and partnership between the community and the schools is really what builds strength. Meridian Township, I think, is known for their strong schools in the fact that they have Okemos and Hazlitt, as well as Williamston and East Lansing. And of course, Delhi Township is also known for strong schools. Holt High School, or the Holt District, is a part of that. And I also think it shows the relationship and the partnership when there are so many school representatives in the room, whether it's board members who are here, fellow superintendents who are here. So on behalf of all of us, I would like to say happy anniversary. Strong schools and quality schools make strong quality communities, and vice versa. It is a partnership. Happy anniversary. And being the old gal, there goes the memory as well. So I would like to take a minute here and introduce the Executive Director of Meridian Historical Museum and Friends of Historic Meridian, Jane Rose.
Thank you so much, Kathy. Just on a quick personal note, 37 years ago, I was expecting my first child. And so my husband and I did a little bit of research about the school districts in the greater Lansing area. We chose the Okemos public school system. We have had no regrets. It's one of the best school districts around. But number 2 in contention was Holt. So I think it's fantastic to live in a community that has so many people that committed to quality education for our children. Now, having said that, as a historian, my focus is on what brought us here. Why did that happen? And I want to make a shout out to our ancestors. If you can imagine traveling over the Appalachian Mountains, weeks coming to this area, you couldn't do it by land because, as a Michigander, you had to come up through Ohio and then go up through the Great Black Swamp. There were songs written about the Great Black Swamp and the malaria and the gnats and the black flies and so on. So it was very difficult, and Michigan really did not start to grow until after the Erie Canal was completed in the 1820s. And that way you could bypass the Great Black Swamp and go directly to Detroit. So you were halfway there. And if you were lucky enough to be able to buy a wagon and a team of oxen, that helped your travels going through those tiny little Indian trails. However, you still had to walk because the oxen could only carry so much. And so mother, if she had a young child, might sit in that wagon. But the other children, whether they were 6, 8, 10, 12, they walked from Detroit up to mid-Michigan. And what did they find when they got here? Trees, trees, some swamps, and more trees. Without the commitment and the dedication of our ancestors that so bravely took that risk, our communities would not be here today. And some communities came and left. If you live in Meridian Township, I'll bet you have never heard of the little hamlet of Meridian. Well, that was located at the South Railroad crossing on Meridian Road. If you live in Delhi Township, I bet you've never heard of the little village of Jefferson, which was located between Holt and Mason, and at one time was estimated to become the biggest community in all of Delhi Township. Didn't happen. Things, they come, they go, and they succeed because of the commitment of the people in the community. Just like this function today, it didn't happen on its own. It took a lot of people to put this together, just like it took a lot of people to build Meridian Township and Delhi Township. So thank you very much. And now I am going to introduce the Vice President of the Historical Society of Greater Lansing, Valerie Marvin, who also happens to be the Capitol historian. Valerie.
Thank you very much. It's a privilege to be here today and to join you in this anniversary. The Capitol has always been a place where we have come to celebrate major accomplishments and major anniversaries or birthdays, depending on whatever you wish to call them. And I think it's so appropriate today that we are coming together as members of the greater Mid-Michigan region to celebrate here in our Capitol building, which we all, as Michigan citizens, have a piece of in us. And I want to tell you a couple early stories about what it took to get the Capitol here. It has been a joint effort of communities in the Mid-Michigan area since the 1840s. Now, of course, in 1847, the legislature surprised everyone virtually by deciding to move the Capitol from Detroit to what was then Lansing Township. I have to say that probably the average Detroit resident at the time had never heard of Lansing Township, didn't know where it was, and was immediately a little bit suspicious. Now, for those people, all handful of them, and that's only a slight exaggeration, that were living in Lansing Township, this was wonderful, fantastic news. Suddenly, we were going to be the center of the state. And with that came great jubilation, anticipation, and I think maybe a little bit of fear, or at least a small case of nerves, if you will, because we knew the Capitol was coming here, but we didn't know necessarily that it was going to stay. Lansing Township was named the temporary capital. So we knew we had to get our ducks in a row, and we had to really roll out the red carpet, which was rather hard to do when we didn't even have decent roads that led to this part of the state. And what really I find endearing about going back and reading those early pioneer histories and the sketches that were drafted by those pioneers in the mid and late 19th century is the efforts that they made. Some of them seemed, probably to them, like relatively small efforts, but they were huge gestures that made an immense difference. There were many settlers from this area, first of all, who advocated for the Capitol to come to Lansing. They were the ones who were in Detroit in that first Capitol, day in and day out, lobbying. They made a huge difference. When the roads were being built, the Plank Road particularly that came up, that was a huge addition to this community that we owe to those early settlers in places like Meridian Township. I have to say, though, one of my favorite stories about bringing the Capitol to Lansing actually has a Delhi connection. This comes actually from one of the old Ingham County pioneer histories. And the story is told actually in 1873, which was a time when this building that we are in today was under construction. Construction on this building began in 1872, and it officially opened on January 1st of 1879. So it was a time when everybody in mid-Michigan was thinking about capitals and what it took to build them. And this led one gentleman to reminisce back to the construction of the previous building, the old wooden Capitol that sat kitty corner from where we are today. And he remembered how in those days, in the 1840s, 1847, his father was a miller in town, had a sawmill. And there were not too many buildings in downtown Lansing, to say the least. In fact, there wasn't even officially a downtown Lansing as a city yet. That would take a few more years. But they were in their home one day, and suddenly there was this great sort of ruckus outside. And they went out and they discovered that there was a group from Lansing Township and Delhi Township who had gotten together and decided that they were going to give their very best lumber that they had to the effort to build the new wooden Capitol. So they went out and felled a tree 40, 50 feet tall, according to the story. They then got together every oxen they could find to haul it all the way to downtown Lansing, came as a parade virtually with it, and came to the door of the miller and knocked, presented it, and then all together, the men from Delhi Township climbed up on this log and gave 3 cheers. The Capitol has come. The Capitol has come. The Capitol has come. And I will tell you, they made sure that that log was processed and that lumber was used in that wooden Capitol. And I think it can come across as sort of a charming, endearing story today, but think about the effort that they put into that. They wanted to be a part of what was happening here. They wanted to have their little piece of the Capitol, of Delhi Township, represented in that building. And in that building, laws would be made for the next 30 years. Michigan would grow and flourish under the leadership of the men and women who worked there. And I think those same early residents would be so proud today to see all of you gathered in the next Capitol. That, of course, belongs to all of us, from Meridian Township, from Delhi Township, from Detroit, from Lansing, from Copper Harbor and Traverse City. It is so appropriate for us to gather here today to celebrate this wonderful anniversary. So on behalf of the Capitol and on behalf of the state, I would like to add my congratulations, wish you a wonderful birthday, and wish you many years of prosperity to come. Maybe in 25 years, we should come back to this very place and celebrate again. Thank you. And I'd like to ask the Girl Scouts to come up to close our ceremony today.
Color guards, retire your colors.
We're adding a piece of history to the Oh, the girls are going to come first, sorry. Let the girls come.